You are listening to High Score 510, where real talk is our vernacular.
My analogy for the slave trader thing in Kim Kardashian, although kind of hyperbolic, is actually somewhat spot on. So I'm gonna stick with it. She built her wealth off something that was, well, in my opinion, was off the exotification of black desires, whatever.
I remember Jerry yelled at me on the podcast one time because I was like, "Hey, Colin Kaepernick needs to release a workout video." You know, kind of like Randy Moss, like Tank Johnson did after they got arrested. He just like, "How you gonna equate Colin Kaepernick to somebody who did something illegal?" And he just yelled at me for like 45 minutes.
I remember that day, yeah.
But I remember, but just now, he equated Kim Kardashian to a slave trader.
No, it's an analogy. I didn't equate. No, because that was when Randy Moss said, or Michael Vick was like, he need to cut his hair. Like, I had to cut my hair and my cornrows so I could come back and get the white man to say, you know what, Negro, you're on side with Peter now, we can take you back. Like, nah, nigga, fuck that shit. It's the whitewashing of blackness. That's a totally different thing. That's a totally different thing.
I listened to the one that was the first Pedro one with me and Pedro on it, where I'm talking about the Motel 6 bed. That shit was hella funny. The truck stop shit is so wild, bro. We need to have a truck stop chronicle. Him talking about prostitutes at the truck stop is crazy. And he got abused by his lady on that show too. He's always getting cussed out.
Yeah, he's getting cussed out a lot. You guys got people want us to do more 30 seconds with Jason segments.
Oh man,
we don't have enough alcohol to support that. And I don't know why it took me so long to figure out he was drunk. Because I was like, oh, what's up, Jason?
Hold on. You couldn't figure out he was drunk,
dude.
It took me a lot longer than it probably should have.
Into it, I had a feeling he was a little bit buzzed, but like he was fine for like the first like 25 minutes. Once Adarius got in there, like I'm pretty certain this nigga's drunk now. Because earlier I was like, oh, he might have been having a beer. Like I'll expect that from him. I didn't think he was like, he was fine. He was being Jason.
He was pretty unchained when I was listening to him.
Hey man, I have a feeling Aaron's late because he's probably restarting his computer now and dropping a deuce and putting on lotion, so he might be even later than
that. It's a huge possibility that he's trying to figure out what he's gonna do with the rest of his day.
Well, he said
now that his keyboard keys are all stuck together.
Yeah, they filled him in with that human cement. The human rubber cement.
Walking Gorilla Glue. Oh, Piedro's on here. What's up, Piedro?
What's up, Adarius? What's up, Brandon?
What's up?
Happy Father's Day to y'all.
Oh, yeah, man. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you too, brother.
I'm so proud of you guys.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, he was like he played for the Mavericks circa 1999. Look over here.
From the back of the Foot Locker.
We got Jermichael Finley's uncle's cousin over here.
Michael Finley.
Y'all don't know Pedro.
Roommate.
Hey, Jamarcus Finley.
Yeah. Pedro over here in his
Michael Finley's cousin, Jamarcus.
In his wife's closet, aka the studio of doom, wearing a Mavs cut-off sleeve champion T-shirt.
You look like you got necks and white man can't jump.
It looked like you had to do inventory at a Buffalo Exchange.
Pedro over here looking like the PR intern for the Clippers right now. It's like
I look like a dude to be balling in his jeans and got shorts under him, and then go hustle off clothes out the back of the van.
You look like if they was doing a Clipper Darrell story on Broadway.
So he's selling clothes for your wife at Ashby Flea Market right now.
I'm about to make a couple of selections. Got some ladies outside.
Pedro's gonna open his own thrift shop stuck in the closet. It's like, damn. If y'all don't know, Pedro is in his wife's closet right now. There are blouses abound all on his back and some boxes up on the shelving unit.
That shawl collection is so legit.
I got anything your ladies need. Just give me a holler.
Shout out to Mrs. Doubtfire's pimp.
Oh jeez, we over here looking like was it Hal McRae after when he got pissed off and started throwing shit and say put that in your pipe and smoke it. He got that Kansas City Royal Blue on right now.
You look like the only male coach in the women's football league.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is item number 23. This was $10. Back now, you can get this for $5.
Oh man.
You can throw one of those little, those things they sell at the ice cream trucks or at the corner stores, the little juice boxes that are the hard color with the plastic and they got a little foil lid on them. Can you throw one of those in with the sale too?
No, but I will throw these in if you give me 15.
Is this the back of a van in New Orleans? Like, what's going on?
Those Robin Hood's wife's boots. Like, what the fuck was that? It's like those are the Sherwood 7s.
Where are we? Are you in the prop closet for dead?
Hold on now. Are you in this girl? She look nice in this right here. See this accessory right here. I'll throw that in for an extra $5.
He's in the pop closet for Deadwood, y'all.
And if you need to travel on the plane, I also got this see-through Gucci.
Okay, see-through Gucci. Whoa.
This might not be Rosewood. This might be Baps too.
Baps 1 through 3. This is crazy.
Jesus,
what closet is this? God, he said Baps. Aaron, have you unstuck your keys? Yeah, he ready now.
Yeah, I've been ready. I'm just waiting for a second.
We just didn't know if you were sanitizing your keyboard or not.
No, come on.
We just trying to figure out if you had to restart your computer.
No, I got lost track of time. I was trying to. I got the new HomePod. I was trying to get it set up, but for some reason it won't set up.
Jared, what time is this white dude coming on this week? Next week?
No, that's next week, dude. Next week.
You want me to talk about that right now, or you want me to wait until you're recording?
I'm already recording. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Say record.
I just want to reflect real quick on Jared's last comment to Mr. Joshua Self. He said, "Brother, let's stick together as Black podcasters. We need to be building a network." Mm-hmm. Josh then said something to the effect of, "I totally agree. Let's keep doing this," or something else, and then him and Jared had a quick back and forth. So I just want to throw it out there, Jared. I'm not gonna take up too much time here, but I think it's important what we're doing as Black dudes podcasting, bro. And like, if you're gonna have a guest, I think you should be in line with what we're doing and not just trying to get different people who are gonna just either agree or disagree or just have different perspectives, quote unquote. I think it's okay to get people like you. I think it's okay to get people like us. I think it's okay to be like instead of trying to figure out perspective in the face of other. Mm-hmm. And we should celebrate our like more so than trying to attach ourselves to other these days. So let's celebrate our like. I think we have something here. We've always had something here. And so you don't need to ruffle any more feathers to get what you want for more perspective. I think we all have a different perspective. There's literal slaves on this call right now. Aaron's mostly one. Pedro could be half of one. And so true. I think we just need to like. I think we all have our different, like, through comedy, through actual living perspective. Like, I think we hit our targets, and we shouldn't run from that. And we should celebrate it. So that's it.
I break these chains. You are free.
Stupid.
Give us free.
Sounds like get some new sound bites, Jared.
Give us free.
That was the most on point sound bite you had in months.
Well, don't worry. He's an interesting guy, and I think the concept of his show will be a good talking point for us. Typically, we have, other black men on. We've had black women, we've had black men primarily, and then we have other people that are, allies or just people that are part of our friend group that come on every once in a while. So it'll allow for an interesting conversation, because I think that next week we talk more about like what are the future forms and ways that we can continue the movement and protest and advocate for Black Lives Matter and equality. So I think that'll be an interesting conversation. And his whole basis of his show is talking about, it's called Hence the Future. So he likes to talk about like projected things that he analyzes. As a white male, it's different than the way we might analyze it, but therein lies, part of the picture that we also can incorporate or understand to how we can reach people that don't look like us, or people that are part of the movement that can support us. We have another special guest coming on that day for part of that segment too. So
is this a surprise, or are you gonna tell us?
Yeah,
like
because I found out Josh was on the podcast when I signed in.
Josh? Who's Josh? Jason?
No, Jason.
Oh,
Jason.
I found out Jason was coming on.
Oh, you didn't know neither one, Brandon.
Oh, Josh. I put that one on y'all.
I also just want to add, Jared, just throwing this out there, because you really just struck a nerve, Jared. It's crazy how you, as my homie, won't listen to the forums in which I've told you should be protesting and being active in this community and really digging in on allies, but yet you want to question some rando white dude. So I'm just throwing it out there, Jared.
No. You can't. Don't misappropriate me. You was talking to Mike. Don't put me in with Mike, because you wasn't listening to me that whole conversation. Darius was yelling. Darius was yelling at me when I was trying to agree with him. And when I finally got to talking, Darius was like, "Damn, Jared, man, where you been this whole time?" I was like, "Nigga, I've been here. You wouldn't let me talk."
You guys had another separate conversation that ended up being explosive.
Hold on, let me go real quick. It's based on the Kardashian. Because because now I got leverage. Now she's the hella shit in the world, and so nigga, you definitely can't say nothing to her. So Kim Kardashian, that was the whole argument, was Kim Kardashian is not a bad person. My argument is like she is not doing anything detrimental to blacks. So in that regard, she is an ally.
I agree with you.
I mean, that's just my clear basis. If you're doing something that's trying to help, okay, but if like you have this like thing, you come from like black culture, then it could be a little messy. But for the most part, she's not doing anything to negatively affect the black culture. So from there, I can at least give her the ground basis of her being an ally. My homie Mike, he got into it, Jerry got into it, basically calling me this dude who was like on a soapbox trying to preach about how to protest when Kim Kardashian ain't doing shit and she ain't doing shit. And I'm telling him he literally ain't doing nothing. And Jerry got into it, so then I said he not doing nothing. And so yes, that's how it really got explosive. But I'll let Jerry go from there.
Our friend Mike he's very skeptical, cynical.
Wait, hold on, Jared. Before you go, I want to just say this. It sound like Jared, that you got called out for not doing anything.
Me not doing anything?
Sound like you got called on for, talking on the side of Hotsy about how much you doing and ain't even seen a protest other than from drone.
Or a bike. That nigga bike. He said he biked by. He said he biked by one of the marches.
That's what it sound like. That's what it sound like when somebody called you out on that, Jared.
We're throwing you a freaking bone here, Scott.
Again, and Aaron, the crucial part of this whole argument was, I actually had no hate, no animosity towards Jared nor Mike, and I wanted to make that very clear over and over. I was like, hey, y'all, this ain't about y'all. If you leave people like Kim Kardashian out of it. And they couldn't. They kept saying, like, she's not doing shit. And I was like, well, every time you say that, I'm going to flame you because you're actually not doing shit.
I'm pretty sure.
She's not even black, number one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
On our team.
I'm pretty sure Donald Sterling has something to say about that.
What has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
Well, he's a business person.
He's got AIDS.
That's my favorite sound bite.
So Adarius was getting frustrated with Mike because Mike was like, I ain't doing shit. And he keeps sending these articles and he's sending these things about like, you know, some of it's about the corona, some of it's about like the Black Lives Matter. And like, it's a lot of stuff that it's all just going towards, you know what I'm saying, I'm not doing anything is his final statement after like seeing all this. And Adarius is frustrated with them.
Again, the only reason Adarius is frustrated is because they're talking about Kim Kardashian.
Struck a nerve. I guess that Kim Kardashian, the hashtag Kim Kardashian really struck a nerve because a week later, Adarius is still fuming over it.
Yep. And I'm still on that hype. I'm still on that hype. So
he starts going off on Mike via text on a thread with like everybody. It's like 9 other people on the text thread. And so Adarius is like, Mike, let's talk about this on Zoom chat. I'll flame you tonight on Zoom chat. We can just get on this time. And I'm on a bike ride, so I'm sitting here just like laughing it up. I'm down at the marina looking at the sunset, just like, man, this is funny. You know, texting some bullshit, talking about Kim Kardashian, ain't shit still. And shout out to Kim Kardashian sponsorship. I see you getting your Spotify contract sponsorship. Have us on your show.
Another huge contract there.
Have us on your show.
Hopefully you stop talking shit about Spotify. So maybe we can slip in there and get a couple of dollars. You know, maybe I can get a second flag to block out the sun or some shit.
You can go suck they dick and milk they semen if you want, Aaron. I ain't taking no corporations nut in my face just so I can say I got a space and got a little money to buy a new place. Hell no, nigga. I ain't no sellout like that.
You yell out sponsorship after everything you say.
True.
Thank you, Brandon.
True. But have they responded yet? Ain't nobody showed me the green to change my mind. They ain't changed shit yet. Shout out sponsorship.
Hey, and when you get that sponsorship, you're gonna start having Stephen A. Smith, Jason Whitlock on.
Yeah, whatever.
Charles Barkley repeating himself.
But
I take a sleeping Mike Ditka over Jason.
Jason.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, so Adarius gets mad. He's going off on Mike. I'm like, I end up calling Mike because I saw Adarius get mad and he's talking about receipts and shit. I got receipts, nigga. You ain't doing shit. You can't be talking shit about the movement if you ain't doing shit. And I was like, I kind of agree. Like, you got to be like doing something. You got to be active in some way. You got to be doing your part. And your part isn't typecast into one thing you have to do as a person of color, a black person, or somebody who is trying to be an activist for equality or whatever your movement is, right? There's multiple ways of doing it. So I'm on the phone with Mike, talking to him like, Mike, I don't think you shouldn't do anything. You should find a way that you can, you know what I'm saying, still be active. And he's like, I'm just going to sit back. I'm waiting till this corona thing passes over. I'm not trying to get sick. And I was just like, you know, it's what you're willing to risk. You know, when corona's over, you're still going to be a black man in America. So like, are you willing to take advantage of this movement? So then,
like you went on the Captain Save a Mike.
No. I was.
Hold on. But nobody heard it except for you and Mike. I was talking
to Mike because I was talking to him on the phone.
Yeah, right. Nobody knows that's how it went down. That's why I was trying to do it in public so we can all talk about it. Because now you can say the narrative is, I was trying to tell Mike he needed to do something too as I was coming back from my bike ride on the marina on a day of a protest.
I was riding back. I was at the BBW's BBC's Matter bike ride in West Berkeley. Okay, big beautiful BBWW BBC M.
Exactly.
So then I get on, and Adarius is already heated. He's mad. And this is where I think I really triggered him, right? So Adarius is talking to our 2 white friends, 2 of our allies, Taj and Ben, and they're like listening. And Adarius is talking about hopping a fence off the train in Portland and ended up in like some dude's like yard, part of his yard. And dude pulls up with the gun, is like, what the fuck? Who's in my yard? And points a gun at Adarius. And I'm like, and Adarius is like, I was in the right. So if he shoots me, I ain't really tripping. And I was like, nigga, you ain't gonna be tripping if this nigga shoot you? I said, what? And then he started getting mad at me. And then Mike got on, and then Dark started going up on Mike. And then I tried to say something. He's like, I ain't trying to listen to you, nigga. You ain't about this life, nigga. Stay out of my business. You white black man. You China Negro ass white boy. And I was like, damn, Adarius, can I say something? He's like, nah, nigga, because I ain't about tearing black people down. But you ain't shit, nigga. You ain't shit, nigga. Don't say nothing, nigga. I know you, nigga. And you can't say shit. And I ain't about tearing white people down. I ain't about tearing black people down because Kim Kardashian is the realest bitch in this world, and she ain't even black, and y'all trying to tear black people down. Fuck y'all, nigga. And he's like yelling at me, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, man, I'm trying to say, can I say something? And Darius like, no, nigga, you can't say nothing. And then finally, Adarius calms down a little bit, like an hour later, when Taj is like, it breaks my heart to see you guys yelling at each other like this. I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm barely able to talk. And then Adarius calms down after Taj Taj, like, airs his grievances of seeing his friends so worked up, and Adarius and Mike are going back and forth, which it's basically like ping pong, baby. It's like, you remember that scene where Forrest Gump was hitting the ball against the wall to himself? It's like Mike was the wall or Forrest Gump, and Adarius was the wall or Forrest Gump, and they was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And wouldn't nobody change each other's mind you. But I stepped in and just be like, hey, I agree with what Adarius is saying. I also understand where Mike is coming from. And I tried to give a holistic view of the whole situation, because I wasn't on either side of like Adarius is right in many ways. Mike is validated and right in many ways for him to feel the way he is. Somewhere in between is where I think we're hoping that Mike would have gone towards, but he wasn't budging, right? And then Adarius like, damn, Jared, where you been, man? Oh, man. You know what, man? Oh, man, that's the real Jared I know. You know what I'm saying? At this point, just so I can get him to shut the fuck up and let me talk, I had to put on this red hood right here, this Spider-Man red hood. And this nigga's like, man, I need you to keep that hood on all the time when you talk to me now. I was like, thank you, Adarius. As a black man to another black man, you ain't tearing me down. I appreciate it. And so then that's pretty much how it ended.
What you got that red hood for? Are you working like the gas tank fill up in Daytona or something?
This whole thing is so bullshit.
That is not bullshit. That is exactly what happened, bro. We ain't here to tear black people down. You literally said that within like 2 sentences of each other. We ain't here to tear black people. I'm like, wait, I'm a black person, half at least. I'm being torn down right now. You won't let me even express myself.
I don't know if I said that.
Hey, should we call Taj and Ben on the line? We're like, did Adarius let Jarrett talk in that exchange?
No. I definitely didn't let you talk, but I definitely didn't say I'm not gonna let you tear down black people. I said probably I'm not gonna let you talk for black people, because I was serious in that moment that because I equated it to your personal contacts in your phone. I said, look, you can't talk to me, Jared, if your contacts don't reflect the actual world. And I know your contacts, there's more Irish people than anybody else in that phone. So you can't even talk to me about race.
Well, anyways, it was a heated conversation all spawned off the fact that me and Mike were riding Kim Kardashian a little bit off that episode. It was off that episode from that week, and then Adarius was really mad. So
what was Mike's whole big argument? Like, he's just not going to participate.
His biggest thing that I can reconcile, that I was like, I'm in agreement with you, Mike. But this is momentum right now that you could take advantage of. But he was just like, I don't want to get sick. He's really paranoid about the corona and really worried about it. So I was like, that's fair. And I don't like, that's it. And I said, it's a game, or it's not a game. It's what you're willing to risk in this moment. Are you willing to potentially risk your health or your perceived health to either be active or not be active? Are you what's more important to you, and how much are you willing to, like, you know what I'm saying, negotiate that at all? He's like unwilling and unwavering on negotiating that component of it. And then his other thing is, I've been dealing with, you know what I'm saying, white supremacists growing up in Davis, and being a black man in this country has been hella hard. I deal with every day. And he's like, I'm gonna let them do the work. I'm sitting back and doing my thing right now. And his main thing that he told me and kept reiterating to me on our conversation was like, when everything gets back to normal and we ain't in this pandemic and people can go back to, you know what I'm saying, living their normal lives, where will they be on this whole activism shit? Are they going to be active participants? Are they going to still be, you know, out there at demonstrations, protests, active in their local government, you know, speaking up when they see these things? Or are they going to just go back to their normal life, you know what I'm saying, with all the different things that can distract them, and then forget about this? He thinks this is just a fad for a lot of people because they've been cooped up, and, you know what I'm saying, they want to, you know, just get out and rabble rouse in some ways.
It's so funny how forgiving you are, because that actually wasn't the big kicker either. It was the hate for Kardashians, and then his response to do something was,
get a job for the government,
and then do what?
Fix it from the inside,
and then do what?
Be black and die.
He wants to be a correctional officer, dog. He said that he wants to apply for government jobs and one day be a correctional officer so he can fix it from the inside. So you're hating on people who are actually doing something, and your only way of thinking about doing something is just to do something and be a part of the same problem. Like, come on, dog. Like, I'm not listening to this shit no more.
That's funny here. You're trying to attack the inside. I had a conversation with this young lady I went to school with. We were talking about that. She was like, what are we going to do to change all the equalities? I was like, hey, we need black judges. We need black everything. Black cops, black detectives. That's the only way you're going to change all that.
Hold on. I got a problem with Pedro said. He said a young lady he went to school with. Me and this motherfucker ain't been in school in over 22 years. I'm trying to figure out what young.
I'm here taking night
young.
classes. You over here hating?
Maybe that's the only way.
I'm trying to make this young black lady feel good.
26 years ago, we graduated from high school 26 years ago. Which young lady?
Because maybe one day she can buy some of these fine fabrics I got for her.
that's probably.
I'm trying to sell game here. 40 minutes, Jared.
Oh shit! All right,
you got to go to work.
Yeah,
I thought they fired you.
Now I'm going to work for. Hey, this white man need me. They need me as their token to the Indian reservation. So they ain't racist. See, I got a Negro out there on the Indian reservation. So you're lying about how we oppress black people.
Well, y'all ready to start the show?
Yeah, man.
Peadro, I need a letter.
Your voice ain't warmed up yet.
Peadro, I need a letter.
P. No, F. F for Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day out there. Oh shit, I need to make the list of what we talking about today.
I want to say real quick. Hold on, I want to say real quick. Happy Father's Day to the 3 fathers I'm on the show with right now. At least 2 of them are good. Good fathers. One of them refers to people our age as young ladies. Happy Father's Day out there. I want to acknowledge you 3 brothers for going out there, being loyal, being good, raising your kids. Helping raise your nephews, nieces, and cousins that's in your life, and grandkids, as I know for Pedro too. So I want to salute you 3.
Right.
Before Jared starts throwing all this bullshit in here.
All right. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about representing the national team as a black man. We'll also talk about change.org, making moves on the KKK, and some other sports news from the week. All right, F for Father's Day. All right.
Jared, you talked about what we were going to talk about, but you still can't talk about the letter F.
Fagua flambe Fergie.
Those are the only 3 letters you know.
Ferocious felines.
Like the first 3 of the whitest things. Jared,
flagrantly,
those are the 3 whitest things in the world.
Fellation,
foie gras, and Fergie. Literally, you came out of the gate in the 3 whitest things in America.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us at High Score 510 on the Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube. You can also catch us at highscore510.com and tap in with us on any and every podcasting platform. And we are here with...
This is Aaron Grayson III, also known as AG3, coming faster than an NBA player, paying me to wear his ring, one of his rings, so he can sneak out and sleep with some Instagram whores.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
You know, I had that same conversation about having a set of skills when my niece got kidnapped, and I told the kidnapper the same thing. And then once they took her, I realized my set of skills, I was just sitting in front of the computer on P-Hub.
It's like, are you on P-Hub? Because I will find you.
The sad part is I found them there too, doing all that traffic, and I was like, wait. Everyone was thanking me, like, man, that was a great speech. You right, you did have set skills. They didn't know that was just a typical Monday for me.
And we are here with...
Yeah, what's going on? This is Brandon, aka Taco Pablo. Just letting Jared know we're on a time schedule today. I'm gonna walk out like I will with Jamie Foxx playing Tyson.
He not doing Tyson anymore?
He is, and that's the terrible part about the whole thing. Jamie Foxx might be the same age as Mike Tyson. Like, I don't know how he's gonna play 18-year-old Mike Tyson.
He might be slightly older than Mike Tyson.
What was the show, The Irishman on Netflix? They made everybody look young. They could do that shit now. They got all the face swap stuff. People doing revenge porn on face swap shit. They could do that now, Mike Tyson.
Seems way more expensive than just getting somebody who can act.
All right, and here's your soundbite, Brandon.
Why'd you run out on me?
Because you're not quite evil enough. But it's true. You're quasi-evil. You're semi-evil. You're the margarine of evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just 1 calorie, not evil enough.
Hate to say it, Brad is right. Jamie Foxx is 1 year younger than Mike Tyson.
And we are here with...
What's up, y'all? This is Adarius, a.k.a. Smoking cheap weed in Portland with your racist auntie.
I'm sorry I was born with this perfect bone structure, that my hair looks better done up with gel and mousse than hidden under a stupid hat with a light on it. All I ever wanted to do was make you proud of me, Pop.
With what, your male modeling? Prancing around in your underwear with your wiener hanging out for everyone to see?
Jared knows how to spend his time. Trust me.
Trust me, I do. All right. And we are here with...
Hey, it's your friendly Captain, Lando's cousin, a.k.a. Captain P-Funk, a.k.a. out here social working, trying to get child support from Darth Vader.
The way your dad looked at it, this watch was your birthright. You'd be damned if any slope's gonna put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch, up his ass. Then he died of dysentery. He gave me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years. Then, after 7 years, I was sent home to my family, and now, little man, I give the watch to you.
I will say this, Jared. I'm usually not that uncomfortable with ass tat. So many times I was really uncomfortable by that. I was cringing the whole time.
All them long pauses in that sound drop.
And my name is Jarrett, a.k.a. DJartt, with 2 T's for a double dose of that tink tink. The quarantine is out now. And the D is silent. So it's just Jarrett. Oh, I'll hook you up with the bottle, man. You can drop back down here, player. I got you.
Okay, I'm just turning 16 and having a birthday pool party. My father invites every girl he knows. And I'm not talking about girls my age. No, not Jonas. He invites Playboy bunnies and models and I think actual whores, real prostitutes. So there I am in my giant bathing suit with nervous puberty oozing out of my gigantic pores. Just awful. So the band suddenly stops playing. And I hear, and now the man of the hour, Rusty Venture. All eyes on me, right? Then suddenly, almost predictably, the action man shoots my groin with a shrink ray right as that f***ing jackass Colonel Gentleman pulls my shorts down.
What is this?
I don't know what, Jared. You finally got some new sound bites, but they coming way from left field.
You went out shorts the worst soundbites.
Okay.
You went to worst. Okay, you went to worstsoundbites.com and was like, stop him.
I done taught you everything else you know about this shit, right?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, he got some heaters, but they make no sense.
Can you be quiet one time?
Yes.
Okay. Jared thinks he's equipped now. He finally organized the soundbites.
Just wait till his iPad goes to sleep.
There we go.
All right. Well, happy Father's Day. We are recording on a Father's Day. If you guys didn't notice, the common theme between all those sound bites were they were about fathers or fathers talking to their son. So
no, because one said I need to throw up.
That was my boy RP.
RP.
Hey, RP's the father to many homes.
Oh God.
Hey, celebrate him today too. Ooh, rest in peace, right?
Rest in peace, RP.
Well,
RP, rest in peace.
y'all ready to get in some? Well, happy Father's Day, everyone. Happy Father's Day. Sorry, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We got a couple fathers on this show, so congratulations, y'all made it to another year of Father's Day celebrations.
Happy Father's Day to all those fathers who neglected their young daughters now, and they deserve some credit too. Happy fathers that gave their daughters a lot of fathers issues, daddy issues. Thank you.
I have a very specific set of skills.
Very specific set of skills, and you guys have helped me sharpen. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you. The difference between you and me, for those fathers who gave their girls daddy issues, difference between you and me is I don't have any kids, and you do. Iron sharpens iron, though.
Yeah, your kids are all on the fucking keyboard.
In news, Change.org, the petition signing website, has a new petition that is rising up the charts and it is filling up fast. And this week, a petition was made to make the KKK illegal. It focuses on the fact that the KKK is a white supremacist hate group with historic acts of terrorism, including countless physical assaults and murders. Yet it is still protected by First Amendment rights, and it is still active in many parts of the country. And that it should no longer be tolerated and qualified as a terrorist organization. Right now, there are over 1.7 million signatures in their goal to getting up to 3 million and sending it to Congress. What do you guys think about that?
About goddamn time. I mean, what do you want me to say? We're still talking about this?
Can they really do that? I mean, like, they can develop and send all the signatures they want, but what good is it going to do? Because it takes every basically new administration gets to list who's a terrorist and what their definition of terrorism is. So, I mean, that's just it's good. I mean, you're right. They should be labeled a terrorist group, but it's a waste of time.
I think it's a waste of time. Is it a waste?
Because it's not going to change anything. I don't like wasting time on things that's not going to change.
You don't think with all the momentum that's going on right now, it could potentially have some long-lasting impacts or start the wheels of turning of getting it deemed one in the future?
Because a lot of the groups now, like the white nationalist groups and all that, you can always push off a violent act as if being a one person, right? It's hard to label it as this was a organization thing that was passed down as this was an order that this person was given to do. So it's a waste of time. I mean, they could go for it. I feel like there's other rules and laws we could get changed right now, and we could put the focus on that, and that could really that's just a hard battle that's going to be to get. It's not about First Amendment. It's just a hard battle.
So you think if Dylan Roof had somebody ride with him, this would be easier to pass?
Well, maybe if I knew who Dylan Roof was, I ain't gonna.
That's the nigga who shot up Charleston. Shot up the church in Charleston.
Yeah, the church had nine people.
Adarius, I need you to go off on Aaron like you was going off on me.
For not knowing
Don't worry. I'm trying to figure out where Aaron coming from. So keep going.
No, I'm not coming to anything. I think it's a great idea. I just don't think the shit will work. I just don't want to waste time on shit that don't work. That's my only thing.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Is that there hasn't been the white nationalist movement, the group that's registered as a group, haven't passed down any rules and say, hey, let's go do this. Everything that's done is just fucking one-off crazy ass lone wolf white dudes, and it's easy for them to label it as one wolf white dudes, even if he has a bunch of hate speech and this and that. It's like we can't prosecute the army because they trained some soldier to shoot and do this, and then that motherfucker come back and go on top of a tower and shoot people. You can't prosecute the army for that. They didn't give the order. It's hard. I'm just saying it's just a hard thing. I'm not saying I disagree with it, this and that. I'm just saying it's just a fucking waste of time is what I'm saying.
No, I totally agree with it, Aaron. You can't change that stuff. Is really hard to change legislation, especially when there's white leaders saying, "Hey, you know what? That's kind of all right." I'm kind of glad that crazy cracker just went in and shot a couple of niggas. Mm-hmm. He was kind of thinking what I wanted to do. So
yeah.
Wow.
What
So yeah.
What do you think, Brandon?
Wow.
That's hilarious. No, like you really can't shut it down, right? Like just the, I mean, there's no, they can only just stop the name Ku Klux Klan. They can just call it something else. Like, hey, everybody sign up on this website now. Or hey, come to this meeting now. We're just gonna change the flag.
Like Fox News, Breitbart.
Well, that's the craziest thing because, like, you don't hear like the cake when you do hear the term KKK. It's in a lot of shitty ass like white trash places, right? Like when you hear about the socialist movement, it's a little more like smart motherfucker, like running those.
Except the Orange County Ku Klux Klan. I heard they had a good club there. You go at a good social club there. You have spreads and nice hotels.
Beautiful white women. Do they make little finger sandwiches? Do they make their little finger sandwiches? Ooh.
I think you just talking about that time that we got kicked out the Orange County jailhouse.
I heard the Orange County one. They hold their a weekly book club at the Starbucks on Ocean View Drive. Ocean Drive.
I'll be honest here. I don't know a single fucking street in Orange County, but the fact you do might corroborate Adarius' story. Adarius, I don't know a single street. I'm from Southern California. I don't know a single street in Orange County, and this motherfucker Jarrett naming streets.
I mean, it's your true colors again. Flambe, foie gras.
Well, hey, so so part of me thinks that it is important. It's another step in the process of the narrative being, replaced or reclaimed, or you put a new definition on something like, and part of what the man or what these colonial systems have done to people of color in particular in taking and colonizing new land is it's naming things what they want to name it from their perspective, from their vantage point, and then from there on out, the history is written as though that is true. So every generation afterwards ends up being indoctrinated or educated into thinking that is what is history, or that is what is true, or that is what I am or am to be. And so I think that getting it labeled or pushing Congress to acknowledge it as a historical terrorist group, and unless, there's some kind of crazy forms of reform change that it will always be classified as a terrorist organization, will do wonders to at least curtailing white supremacists and violent, white supremacist groups from engaging, or this one in particular. Because you think about it, like if you're relabeled a terrorist group, then that means that you're going to be part of Homeland Security is going to be on your ass. And I'm sure they already are watching them, but they let them get away with more shit than normal. Well, if this is like formally labeled a terrorist group, it's a lot harder for them to let things slide through the cracks and be like, oh, we didn't get that piece of information, or we weren't observing them for that, and we weren't paying attention and making sure that they weren't setting up for some crazy attack here and there. They would be more on top of that shit. And the people who are associated with them would then start being watched, who are the lone wolves being watched a lot more closely, which I think is important to protect Black bodies and people of color.
I mean, so I'm gonna tread real lightly. I will say this. To the grand argument of like do or don't do, or police or don't police, or anything like that, I don't know, man. I don't want to keep knocking people, but I will say there has to be radical change for it to be acknowledged as something as so, right? That's the only way.
Yeah, I think we need to show up to the courthouse in Congress and be like, nigga, here now. And we like, hey, we need to talk about this.
They're terrorizing the whole states.
Mm-hmm.
It's still southern strategy. Still,
yeah,
it's still here. This is why everybody's acting a fool. They act a fool down there now. Yeah. They still use somewhat of segregation.
Yeah.
Look, if you're not a Black dude that's not producing any money towards those communities, and I mean large amounts of money in the South, like you're not a football player, guess what? They don't like your ass, and they will do stuff to you to make sure that you do not succeed. If you're just a regular Black person, you don't have the comfort as mid-American white people. So they use the Ku Klux Klan. They still have them in the South to terrorize or keep people in their box. You're not as free as you think. That's why Juneteenth. Everybody celebrates Juneteenth because of
shout out to Juneteenth sponsorship.
Like Yeah, stuff like the KKK did, and
I didn't know we were celebrating it because of that. I thought we were celebrating it because Donald Trump made it popular.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, Donald Trump. I didn't know about it until Donald Trump helped bring knowledge. Donald Trump, like I never heard of Juneteenth, but thank you, beautiful old chubby white man, for letting me know about Juneteenth.
Yeah, thanks Donald Trump for all your information.
I think it's something that's important. It's one of the processes. If we know anything about our democracy, if you want to call it that, is that a lot of processes start slow, and you have to like work through the sensibilities and the fragilities of the status quo and the people in power. And we know that the fragilities and the status quo that they have, set this country by, place in their advantage. So they don't want to change the rules, and they will change it slowly. It takes new thinkers, similar to what we've been seeing with this new, hopefully, social awakening around the country and potentially around the world in varying degrees. But I just think it's an important step in a direction that will, potentially have lasting impacts if it, starts hitting legislative bills where they're like, hey, we need to make this. And even if it doesn't get voted in the first time or the second or third time, if it's part of the discourse at the highest levels in that representation, I think it'd be great.
I don't think it can't get voted in. That's the thing. It has to go
That's
my whole argument. My argument isn't that it's not a good idea. It's that it's just fucking pointless because you can't do it. What they're trying to do.
Right, you can acknowledge it all you want to, right? But like when they went to go fight Al Qaeda, it wasn't just Al Qaeda they were fighting. They were fighting ISIS. They were fighting a bunch of other smaller groups, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
Which one represents an identity in the South, in the country that a group of white people don't like other races, and it's not just black people, right? So you can let them self-select themselves by letting them join the Ku Klux Klan, right? So that when they do commit crime, you can say, "Hey, you're a part of this organization that's known now. Now it's a hate crime." That's the only way that you can do it, because just trying to name them as a terrorist organization doesn't really change anything, right? Because they can reorganize as something else, and that's not what we're fighting. We're not fighting names, right? Hey, you can't call it the Ku Klux Klan anymore, but you can call it the New Nuxan or something like that, or something.
And that's what I'm saying. The stronger white nationalist movements don't call themselves the Ku Klux Klan. So it's like,
they call themselves Republicans.
Yeah, but they still have fools who the Ku Klux Klan still holds organized rallies, and they have First Amendment protections. So what I'm saying, like, that's part of
that's part of the First Amendment.
No, but
it's the First Amendment.
No.
But the thing we're trying to say is, right, the same space that they allow us to have these protests in and say, hey, we're gonna write Black Lives Matter.
To say shit. Yeah.
White people can still argue that in court that it's a hate organization. Like, we're trying to do something else, right? And if one person commits a crime from that group, guess what? Like, oh, we're labeled a terrorist organization, now, right? So it's the same thing for the Ku Klux Klan. They have the right to say whatever they want to say. They don't have the right to do whatever they want to do, though.
Yeah, the precedent you set moving forward will dictate the future. If you're going to be like, oh, it's not that big a deal, or it's not even like going to do anything, like, then you're already relegated to the past and saying that's fine and we're defeated. That's not what I'm about, and that's all I'm saying.
That's moving forward. The place the Ku Klux Klan exists for me is in the history book. Like but for now, there's Antifa. There's actually white Nazis. Like, there's all kinds of groups that fit under that mold that don't even follow the same rules. Like, the Ku Klux Klan is really just more about black people and white people. There's like the white Nazis just don't like anybody that's not white. And guess what? You could be you could be too dark and Italian, right? Like, there's different groups for different things. The example I'll give is that, right? So when I was in school, there was a frat house, right, that was having too many parties. Some people ended up like dying of alcohol poisoning, right? So the campus says, hey, like, we're gonna shut down this frat, right? It's still a frat house. A frat house still needs to be there as part of the campus culture. So they just rebranded the frat. They had to draft new charters, and guess what? There's parties going on there Friday and Saturday nights again, right? So it's not that group at the same. The people in charge, hey, you guys got to go. Hey, you're a leader of the Ku Klux Klan.
So we're like, guess
what? We're still going to rebuild the same house and still be occupying the same space.
Yes,
because racism is a system. It's not an organization, right?
But it's upheld by organizations and the power and clout they have to influence the legislation. If you're not going to be willing to change the legislation and fight the legislation, then you're saying I'm okay with there still being black terrorist groups. That's what you're saying. No. I'm not. Hey, no. Here's what I'm gonna say.
Have you signed it yet? Just tell me that before you start talking.
Yeah, nigga. Have you?
You know what? No, I doubt it. I'm gonna stick to Mike and Adarius. You probably ain't even signed the damn thing.
Nigga, you ain't been out your house. You be like, man, I'm not gonna get into it. And y'all are like, no, man. All they're gonna do is rebrand get it.
No,
Make them go through the process of rebranding it. Make them go through the steps of having to reestablish it something different, because now they're going to classify themselves. They're going to define themselves. They're going to, in written down law, they're going to change what they're saying they're about, whether or not they are. But my main point is, if you make somebody, like, just like a black person, if you go to a black boy and say, you can't ever be this, or you can be this, that changes a lot about the way and avenues they see the world.
Good luck.
If you go against these structures and systems or these organizations who historically have been oppressing us and say, hey, right now times have changed and this is just not okay. Your history is coming back to roost right now.
Okay,
hold on.
Abolish the U.S. government.
Hold on. Let me finish. Now y'all have to. Well, now y'all are this, and y'all have to see yourselves as this, and you cannot continue to function in the manner you were. That's going to change the avenues from how they go out into their future. That's important. If you make somebody have to rebrand themselves or have to redefine themselves, that has an effect. It's not going to change whether or not they feel a certain way, but it will change the way that they then interact with the rest of the world in commerce, in the civic sense. That is true, and that has been true based upon the way we've been conditioned as black men. So if you can't see that and you not even think about that, y'all already lost.
If the youth keep doing what we're doing, and we're protesting, we're writing bills, like you said, to, you keep that pressure on, things are going to change, because they're going to start to look silly. You got to understand, white man is outnumbered. That old hate group is outnumbered. What they have is money and power right now. But once we all grow, all the youth grow, all that stuff is going to change. You're gonna have, like you said,
guarantee we'll all be dead before that happens.
Well,
everybody on this podcast.
Be dead.
And there's a lot of people who said that we'd be dead before they say a black president, and that's fine. But you know what they started? They didn't stop them from doing the work or helping get one of the wheels turning that would then make the change later on.
Do the work. I totally agree with that.
Well, I did see another petition, and it was to keep the name Strom Thurmond High School, and it was trying to get to 200 petition signatures.
No, man, I think we can't necessarily whitewash history like that. Like there are people that did some fucked up shit not too long ago. Like there's a lot of people like that. It's just a point where like everybody's in their feelings. Like, oh man, he had slaves. Like, dude, like you can look at anybody who had slaves. There were black people that had slaves, right? Like there are a lot of people back in the day that kept slaves. There are people in Brazil that had slaves. There's people in the West Indies that had slaves. Like it was just a thing that people did. It's a thing people do now. You feel me? So I think we gotta look at people in context of what the overall society was doing. But in general, I think statutes are stupid, and I think all these names for people are kind of dumb. But at the same time, like, man, I'm going to say something stupid that might be considered racist or offensive in some way, right? So does that mean that, I can't donate money and get a kickball field named after me or some shit like that? Oh, man, dude, did you hear him on the 510 High Score 510 podcast? Oh, man, he says some racist stuff, man. Oh, let's get rid of him too,
Cancel.
I feel like that's the thing that Generation Z is going to understand, like this whole virtue signaling and this whole you have to my way or the highway sort of thing. Like they're going to learn, like eventually they're going to have to live their life too and make some mistakes, and then they're going to be more forgiving of people in the past, like of just recognizing that everyone's not perfect.
Okay, we can be prejudiced. We can't be racist unless you can change
we can be black people can be racist. You can't say black people can't be racist. Stupid shit in the world. I said a bunch of racist shit my whole life, man.
No, I say a lot of prejudice stuff.
No, I don't say prejudice.
Okay, what do you? Your racism, but what does it mean?
I said some racist shit back in the past. I basically put someone down based on their race. I was being racist. Not
right, and they'll say, "Fuck prejudice. You ain't serving no checks around here."
Nah.
You ain't signing no checks.
Racism, while it is an institution, it's not just an institution. It's also a way of acting and being, too. By your definition, then a poor white trash person can't be racist, right? No, they can't. Just like I can. Just like Brandon. All four of us can.
You just talk to the only white dude in a black neighborhood. And then you ask him if black people could be racist.
No, all right. So I understand where both y'all are coming from. I think that we all been racialized. So we have racist things that we think about our own people, about people of other backgrounds. But it's always from the lens of the power elite. Thus, it can be bigoted, it can be prejudiced. Those are organic to who you are as an individual. But the racist power structure is white down. Black is the lowest denominator. So like Pedro said, as a black person, you could say something racist that a white person would say racist, and if the white person said it to an Asian person, or said it to a Latino person, or said it to another black person, or said it to whoever, it would have power. If you say it to them, they're like, "You just a nigga. What are you talking about?" And keep going.
No, you're speaking for too many people.
Hold on.
If they feel like it's racist, then it's fucking racist too.
Let me finish. The power from it coming from a person, a black person, carries very little weight to no weight. Now, maybe in a couple small circumstances, it has weight. If you're a one white person moving into an all black neighborhood, or if you're the one white dude on an all black basketball court, or
Asian guy on an all black basketball,
or you can just be anything but Chinese in China, like you.
Or like, what is another time when black people can be the dominant and have everything?
It's just you can be.
I guess you go to an all black church. I'm trying to think other ways black racism can then
if you
like,
discriminate,
be demeaning and hurtful,
if you discriminate
and, like,
based on race, you are racist, regardless of what it is. We've all have had done racist things. That's the definition of racism. It's not everyone just. It's nice to put in a bow and say I'm black, I can't be racist because it's a system of oppression. It is a system of oppression, but that's not the only fucking definition. When you look at words in the dictionary, it isn't just one definition.
Doesn't only exist here either, man. Like,
yes,
so you can't be like, oh, it's from the white down. Like, dude, like there's people in Mexico that don't like other races, right? Like there's sets in America, right? In Africa, there's different groups that don't like each other.
But America has benefited on me having these chains wrapped around my wrists.
Yes,
in these fields.
Of course.
Let me go, white man.
Can we get to our next subject, please? Or I'm just gonna walk off.
Yeah.
We spend with the last. I'm gonna be honest. The last 3 episodes we have talked race, and I'm just like I'm at my boiling point now. It's like, are we gonna fucking move?
Nigga, you black.
You black, nigga. We talk about shit that's going on.
I'm not saying I don't want to talk about it, but go look at how much time we spent on it. I'm black.
Yeah,
I'm living the shit. That's what I'm saying. I'm right out here. Y'all niggas didn't have niggas popping shit out for Juneteenth to 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning. I did. They only slept 4 hours the night before, 5 last night. Like, dude, let's keep.
That makes you black. You had to hear fireworks in the middle of the night. I'm sorry, Aaron.
I think I was black before that.
Okay, then, nigga.
I ain't
deal
never
with
not
that
been
shit.
black.
All right, well, Strom Thurmond, he was the oldest person to serve in the Senate at 100 years old. He also holds the Senate's record for the longest individual speech. It was a filibuster against the 1957 Civil Rights Act. So, you go down in history for being the oldest motherfucker in the Senate and having the longest speech, which was just a filibuster against the Civil Rights Act.
He was a racist. We know that, Jared. Let's keep moving. He dead. He in the ground. Who the fuck care? You ain't going to South Carolina, so why the fuck you caring right now? You ain't gonna never visit South Carolina. You ain't
How you know? I know people out there.
To the South yet. So let's keep moving.
None of us live in South Carolina either. Like none of us went to that school. Like
no, I just saw it. I saw it when on the petition thing because they had a bunch of other petitions. So
Sign the shit, send the shit to people in your fucking
organization.
Like Adarius said, go through your goddamn contacts, send the shit to people in your contacts. So let's keep rolling, man. You ain't been to South Carolina.
Adarius, you're gonna be the moderator for the show because Jared gets too into his arguments.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's no moderation. We stay on a subject that you want to stay on forever.
Start next week. That's what we're doing.
We got 5 minutes to talk about something that we want.
All right, go ahead, nigga. Bring up something, Aaron. Aaron, next subject, Aaron.
You want to bring up? Well, Brandon sent the whole list that we didn't get to last week.
Nigga, bring something up, Aaron. I want you to moderate then. You complaining because you mad you ain't got no sleep, nigga. Bring something up. Let's go. Set it up for everybody to talk about, nigga.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go. Okay, let's go.
I'm gonna open up the list.
The Rams.
Talk about
Rams
that.
and Chargers are set.
Oh,
for
nigga, that ain't shit. It's a white man with white money buying everything up and don't really give a fuck about you niggas. Next.
All right, that's baseball is trying to figure out.
Nigga, you pulled it out for an old white man's game and they don't give a fuck about niggas. Fuck that shit. Next.
All right.
Cowboys.
What happened? I love
Jerry Jones is a racist, bigot piece of shit, nigga. Next.
Oh yeah. Jared has not commented on the Cowboys and how they're systematic.
Nigga, I don't give a fuck about the Cowboys right now. I already told you what I thought about Jerry Jones. Next subject, nigga.
Wow.
Let's curate a good show, niggas. Come on now.
D.L. Hewley, pass it out on stage.
Who gives a fuck about D.L. Hewley? I don't give a fuck unless I see his Instagram post. And if he passed out during that, now I'm mad. Next, nigga.
Should Juneteenth be made a federal holiday, Jared?
Ask Adarius's woke ass white people in Beaverton, because they will tell you, yes, nigga. Next.
A Baton Rouge school board member caught online shopping during a Zoom meeting.
Man, we know about Connie bitch ass. She was trying to buy some new handbag so she could go into her goddamn blouse club with Pedro's wife. I don't give a shit about that bitch. Next.
Everyone wants to take a knee now, including your boy Jarrett JJ Wyatt.
JJ Wyatt.
We got to get a magic moment, and then we get. Hold on. Where my
I
magic
need
moment?
to hear you yelling. I need to hear you yelling.
All right. Hold on. Here we go. Where that? Fuck JJ
Tyler
Wyatt.
Murley.
Next.
It's still something, I guess. I want to comment on that Baker Mayfield. you need to go ahead and take a knee permanently on that motherfucking bench.
You can't because we're not talking sports. Jarrett wants to keep talking. Hey, this is no country for racist statues, Jarrett.
Jarrett looks like Robert E. Lee.
We already talked about that.
Next officer regrets kneeling, Jarrett.
Next.
Atlanta police chief quits, Jarrett.
Yeah, because the hot winds get too hot. You know, he's dealing with riots and protesting for 3 straight fucking weeks. What you expect? And then when everybody's like, hey, don't do nothing stupid, niggas is upset. Everyone's upset about on behalf of the niggas. Let's not do anything too rash. Hey, you know what? We're going to shoot another nigga on a Saturday night.
Hey, she was black, though. She was black, Jarrett.
I don't give a fuck.
Hey, Adarius, can I fill you in on what happened?
No, hold on. I just want to say something real quick.
All right, go ahead, Adarius.
Just know this. What you've just done is, Jared, you've just got on the podcast. You just came with a totally different perspective than any other niggas on the podcast. And you were able to complete the show in about 3 minutes. Right?
Hey, Darius, you completed 2 shows. I went through this week's list and last week's.
So
two shows.
So, Jared, any excuses of like you needed to stretch the show out, or you need to have more perspectives, or you know this needs to be a 4-hour fucking podcast?
All right, well that is our show, my friends. These niggas can go back to Conan, except for Pedro, since he's the only one that seems somewhat woke. Aside from that, you guys have any final words? Aaron, final words, nigga. We ended the show. You ready to go? You don't want to talk about shit. We got through all the dumbass sports shit that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. That's fine.
It's easy.
Are we ready to move on?
I'm going to say this. It's easy. Pedro down there in Arizona, you ain't surrounded by a bunch of niggas right now, right? Pedro ain't been surrounded by a bunch of niggas in over 10 years.
Not necessarily, but go
10
ahead.
years. I'm talking about surrounded.
Would you rather be surrounded by a bunch of niggas or a bunch of KKK toting Second Amendment motherfuckers?
The motherfuckers might let me sleep last night.
They might let you sleep, and they also might let you sleep while you're hanging from a tree. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the niggas hanging from trees.
I'm sleeping. You talk about niggas hanging around from trees like you seen them, dude.
Right. I've seen no visuals.
Jerry, I didn't know when you step out your house, somehow you in Montgomery, Alabama.
In sports news, baseball is still not happening because they keep going back and forth and nothing's happening. They may or may not play. What do you think about that?
Well, I think baseball is their salaries are too swollen, and they trying to get all their revenue. The heads are swollen. They want all their money, all their revenue on one side, and the other side don't want to play. See, this is what happens when you have a monopoly. One or two teams with the monopoly on the whole league. Well, 3 teams: Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the New York Yankees, right? They controlled all the money, and all these other owners really don't want to dump tons and tons and tons of money into a sport that nobody's watching.
Hey, have you guys heard about the PPH plan? They were talking about this thing called a PPH plan for baseball. So this documentary came out for ESPN called Long Days of Summer, or Long Gone Summer. And it was about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa's run for home runs. And one of the things that was tossed around in the 94 lockout that kind of like was toyed around as a possible idea to get contracts lifted and swollen and inflated was to have a PPH, pay per home run. So you would get paid like $10,000 a home run after like 30 home runs, and then from there, every home run is $10,000 in your contract, and so it incentivizes people to get better and more laser focused on being better hitters and better players.
You should also get lose $1,000 for every strikeout you get, because once these fools started all trying to hit home runs, all they did was strike out. It's either a strikeout or a home run nowadays, and baseball sucks because of it. Because baseball has lost its soul because it's trying to maneuver and become a new age, fast-paced, quick in your face, I need constant stimulation type shit sport when it's not that. And it's not that because it's an old, racist, bigoted man sport. And we ain't gonna get into race, but I'll tell you this: baseball is what it is.
Hold on. It's an old racist, bigoted sports that you have season tickets to, correct?
Oh shit.
Nope. I do not have season tickets to it. But I will tell you that baseball has lost its identity because it was about the fact that you had players who did different things, different skill sets, and everyone had to play defense. So you have people who were really good with the glove. You have people who were really good contact hitters. You have people who were fast. You have people who were power hitters. You had a diversity of players, and now everybody is trying to be the same type of player, and it has made it to where the game is boring because you don't have any type of diversity within the game of people getting on base, stealing bases, manufacturing runs, great defensive players out there making spectacular plays nearly as much, because everyone has to be able to hit a home run to make it to the big leagues now. So you got some wizards on defense that are not making it to the big leagues because they can't hit a home run the same way a guy who's a mediocre shortstop can play shortstop and hit 20 home runs.
I'm trying to figure out why we're talking about this about Brown versus Board of Education Part 2.
Back to the news segment.
Yeah, because, Brown versus Board of Education, a lot of people don't know that. It passed in 1954. They had to have a Part 2 because the white schools still weren't integrating. Just to let you know, my dad graduated from high school in 1957. My mom, they both went to a segregated school because Brown versus Board didn't kick in to the 60s. But somehow I'm not black. I just want to let you know because I don't want to talk race 24/7. That's all.
Okay, are we going to the NBA news yet? Next, so I can
NBA.
All I know about the NBA is a bunch of black dudes playing for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh my god!
And that one white dude that stole 2 MVPs, Steve Nash, shout out sponsorship.
He did steal 2 MVPs. He stole one from Tim Duncan and one from Kobe Bryant.
The one from Kobe was real.
Yeah, both of them were real, man. He stole both of those MVP. The one from Tim Duncan was back, because Steve Nash only averaged like 17, 15 points that year.
Yeah, but he averaged like 13 assists or some crazy shit too, and like a steal and a half.
And they actually only won they won less games. It was just exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was the assist column that got him.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch.
System, yeah.
Jared, what was second place in our news topics? I don't know, nigga. I don't know, man. You got the agenda.
Nah, nigga, you guys want to do this. You can do this. Like, you have a vision for the show you want to do. Do that shit here, and I will tell you I will sit here and be a pundit. You want to hear me be a pundit? You want to hear me be a real nigga? I'll sit here and be a real nigga pundit. I can do that. I don't mind. That's actually really easy.
Nigga here now.
Adarius. He was also upset. Adarius. Me and Brandon both told him how he basically was taking what we said, and we and Brandon said it didn't matter. He basically called us coons and everything else what we and Brandon said, but not wanting to agree.
Jared,
is that a paraphrase of what I said, Aaron? Because that's not that's not an accurate paraphrase.
Jared,
anyways,
you need to also do one of two things. One, you need to say coon half as much as you say, or two, you can call them co's or ons. But since you have black, I'm taking away that other shit.
Oh, thank you, Master. Thank you, Master Negro Alaskan Blackness. I appreciate you and your good hair for telling me when I can and can't say shit, nigga.
Yeah. Since you acted brand new, I'm taking the ability to say nigga too. So you can only say nigga or God.
He said, I appreciate you and your good hair. Come on.
Shit, I got Adarius over here.
Bitch is running wild, man.
Hey, this show going off the rails and we ain't even got Jason here.
Yep. Hey, I'm waiting for you niggas to continue with the agenda.
Hey, I ain't even drunk.
I'm being a pundit, man.
Jared's always off the rails.
So NBA news, they're indicating that they're going to wear sports rings that can measure temperature or illness in the dome. What do you fellas think about that?
Yes,
Do any of y'all know what a BBC is?
You're still talking about them cock rings? I left when you were talking about cock ring. My phone died.
I heard the Ring also has a nice little app where you can Bluetooth to your phone. They can tell you like what's going on with your urine.
This smells like beer, fruity pebbles, and possum piss.
No, I think that's crazy. Like, yeah, I feel like NBA players, no matter, they should be trying to figure out how to get more money for having to wear these rings and then also be in quarantine. Like, it's a good idea, but like when you talk about like labor unions, like you really got to negotiate that in. You can't be like, oh, hey, everybody has to wear this ring now.
They already agreed on it. It was already agreed.
Personal time. I feel
it
like
was agreed.
I hope they got something for that, other than
they getting paid a lot of money.
Other than Kyrie Irving's ignorance.
Hey, let me ask you fellas this: who you think the first player, not from sickness, but just from being there, who do you think this is going to affect the most by just being quarantined?
LeBron James.
Kyle Kuzma.
Come on.
I'm serious. I feel like the older players are just going to quarantine. They're going to be happy. Their families could come in a few weeks, and they're trying to get on with the season. I feel like the younger people like Kyle Kuzma, who are used to running around and acting a goddamn fool, are going to be the ones that struggle from it. I mean, every time you turn around, your boy Kyle Kuzma got some new woman. He gonna struggle.
LeBron's gonna be on his way out soon. I feel like he's the most affected right now because his legacy is at a pretty high bar for a dude to still be operating how he's operating, to be as old as he is. And I think with this time off and him not really being able to be impactful, this is really where the body starts to break down. And so I think he's the one that's really going to be like really affected by this.
No, I agree with you, Adarius. I feel like, but like KD, like some of the top tier players that are chasing like all time records are going to really be affected by these games not being played. Like I think that's the thing that probably weigh on LeBron the most, just because he wants to be like one of the all time scoring leaders. He wants to be the one that all time, or whatever, not just championships, but also those stats. And if he's not playing those games, he doesn't get those stats. You feel me?
And that's why I think they're going to be fine being under quarantine, unlike the younger players.
If Klay Thompson was there, he would have definitely got somebody's wife pregnant.
Come on.
Maybe Aisha.
All right, fellas, I got to hit the road.
All right, Pedro.
You enjoy that reservation, brother.
All right.
You live that res life. Go play some res ball. Bring your hoop shoes.
Get some of that moonshine.
I'm gonna bring food to the people. They don't have food in the food desert.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, you picking up where Magic Johnson left off?
He's doing God's work.
Exactly. I'm gonna put a Friday TJI Fridays in Cayente, Arizona.
Cayente? Does that mean shut up?
No, it's actually right. It's Kenyente. Give me a magic moment, Jared, and I'm out.
This magic moment.
Is the show over, Jared?
I'm waiting for these niggas to go on to the next topic. These niggas are good at that shit. Let's go.
Jared's feelings are hurt.
Crazy how agitated he is now. I know. Let's make lemonade.
Okay. Can I talk about something that's sports and race? Kaepernick's about to get signed. I told y'all.
In other news, Kaepernick may be signed by somebody this week or in the next 3 to 8 months. What do you think about that?
It's going to happen within the next month. So he should be with the team between beginning of July and mid-July because they're going to try to work him out and make sure he's good to go. And, again, from what I've been hearing, he's really linked to a couple of situations. So more to come.
They're gonna sign him for the offseason and they're gonna cut him by the end of training camp. I bet you 5. Conspiracy, brother.
The computer. Another idea stolen from the black man.
He had a better chance of getting signed before all of this racial unrest shit was happening because now it puts the spotlight back on him, which I don't think they were trying to do. They were just going to try to sneak him in the system. But, I think it's actually slowed down his process a little bit.
Yeah.
What y'all think about that? You want me to say shit like that, Jared? What you think about that, guys?
Conspiracy brother thinks that he was gonna get signed until he wasn't. But then once they signed him, they wasn't gonna give him a real chance anyways, and he was still gonna get his ass cut by early to mid-August. Conspiracy brother.
You know, I really don't want to talk about this over the telephone. Perhaps we could meet at a secret location.
That's what the NFL is saying.
Yeah, who's the conspiracy brother again? I'm sorry.
Conspiracy brother? Conspiracy brother is the wokest of the woke brothers who sees all the side backdoor dealings and the undercurrents of what's really going on with the Illuminati and all the other Breitbarts and what's that secret society that runs everything. Anyways, all them motherfuckers. Yep.
You talking about the Illuminati?
I already said Illuminati, the Masons, the Illuminati,
the Boule,
the
Black Boule.
No, the Bundabergs or whatever they call them motherfuckers that had that meeting.
I thought this conspiracy brother. You don't know about the Black Boule?
I don't know about no creme brulee or the black brulee.
Man, I was with my cable guy talked to me about for 2 hours. He told me, Stephen A. Smith, he's like, I'm not surprised he say some of the shit he say. You know he brulee. And I made the mistake of saying, I have no idea what that is. And then he brought up all this shit on his phone, thank God. Then he also showed me pictures where Michelle Obama is a man. Told me that those kids were adopted. And here's a real showed me pictures of the real father and mother of the kids.
That's tight.
Serena and Venus got a movie coming out about who's playing their daddy. Somebody famous playing their daddy in it.
Is it Will Smith?
Might be Will Smith.
Somebody light skin.
I don't know.
It's Delroy Lindo.
Delroy Lindo, Jamie Foxx.
What was their dad name again? Richard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm telling you, I feel like it's gonna be somebody like Will Smith, someone that don't look like him.
Yeah, they probably gonna get Zoe Saldana to play him.
Come on. Is she gonna be in her green thing?
She did a great job playing Nina Simone.
King Richard's the name of the movie, starring Will Smith as Richard Williams.
They could have at least got Steven Jackson because they got the same nostril ratio.
Man, they could have got Stephen L. Whatever his name is, Stephen L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson.
Come on, you get caught.
This magic moment.
Sound right the whole time.
You literally mixed like 3 different people together.
I couldn't figure out I couldn't figure out which part was wrong.
Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts is our segment we end the show with, where everyone gets a chance to have the floor to complain about something, someone, or whatever has been. Dad, yeah, or Dad on Father's Day gets the chance to complain about something that's been just not working well, or you can shout out something positive. So, Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts.
It's time.
If you let it in, help!
So cold and bleeding now.
I'm in for it, man.
Gonna let you down.
He had sex with my mama.
We're broken people now.
I just said I need a Becky.
All right, Cutty Corner Shoutouts. All right, Aaron, do you have a Cutty Corner Shoutout?
Yeah, it would have been you for your breakdown in the middle of the show. So you get a partial one. But my main Cutty Corner shout, which I think Brandon not even listening, my main Cutty Corner shout goes out to Instacart. And I know Brandon loves the gig economy. That's why I was waiting. I've been waiting for 3 weeks to say this one. Brandon loves the gig economy. It's some of the worst thing happen. For starters, the gig economy promotes segregation, right? Instacart shoppers seem to be only African or Asian. And I mean like true, like hardcore, like never been in a grocery store that wasn't 99 Ranch or Coreana Plaza Asian, right? So Instacart has flooded, especially during the pandemic, flooded the Berkeley Bowl with people shopping for other people, to the point where because of the mask, people who I normally talk to that work at Berkeley Bowl are like, are you Instacart? No, just because I got a thing of groceries don't mean Instacart. This is my problem with Instacart. They also seem to hire people that have never shopped in a grocery store before. We're supposed to be keeping 6 feet away, and these people are on every aisle looking on their phone, trying to find a subject and not knowing what to do when they can't find it. When they can't find that chocolate bar, that high-end organic chocolate bar for the Instacart people that live in the Berkeley Hills they shopping for, right? This has been my main problem. And they can't find it. Then they don't know what to do. They're trying, I guess they got something, an app that they try to tell people it's not there, see if they can substitute it with something else. I don't know. I've been asked by Instacart during this time, oh man, do you know where this is? Yes, it's called milk. It's on the side of the store. It's always on every grocery store. It's on the side. It has to be where a refrigerator is. You can't find milk in the aisle with cereal. right? I don't think they've ever been shopping. These people have no idea what quinoa is. They don't know what to do. They're in the way. They're blocking up. And here's another thing. They get access to bypass the line to go straight in the store. And to do what? To stand in the goddamn way and ask me 5 questions. Brandon, I know you love the gig economy, but
so
this is...
I feel like I was misrepresented in that whole thing. I never said I like the gig economy.
You would suck the gig economy's dick if it asked you to.
He would.
Brandon, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
You know, my Cutty Corner shout out coming into the show, I wrote it down. It was just going to be arguing with people online. But now it's just going to be arguing with Jared. Like, I was going to talk about how, like, you're really not changing anybody's mind if you just go on trying to talk to racist people on Twitter, on Facebook, on your timeline, and anywhere. You're not changing anybody's mind. You spend hours and hours collecting all these articles, quoting all these statistics, and guess what? At the end of the day, they're still going to be racist, and you're still going to be woke. And I felt like we had a really a mini version of that on the show today. Like, I was like, hey, we're trying to argue this one point, and Jared's arguing another point, and we're not even talking about the same thing because we're not. And we're just missing the point. We're just going over each other's heads because I'm like, hey man, like, I don't think this thing is going to work. And Jared's convinced because I don't think it's going to work, it means so many other things other than the thing I'm talking about. So my Cutty Corner shout out goes out to everybody spending hours and hours online. Because if you go on Twitter and just read the comments, like, you realize people have been arguing about the same thing on Twitter for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, it's not like this one I had 20 minutes, I'm just going back and forth with somebody. No, like, it goes on, hey, posted 3 hours ago, posted 4 hours ago, posted 6 hours ago, posted 12 hours ago. They go back and forth for hours. So if anybody's spending their time doing that, you are not a part of the revolution, and I need you to use that energy for better uses.
Adarius, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
Yeah, my Cutty Corner shout out goes to the 2 officers, the Asian one and the white one, who did nothing and sat by and watched George Floyd get killed. The officer who shot Breonna Taylor, and also the officer who shot Rashard Brooks in the back. And Jared, I know people are a little confused, but the reason why my Cutty Corner shout out goes to all of those people, because they all have the same mind state, and the world seems to not really care too much about them and their perspective right now. But one day it's gonna catch up to your ass. So there we go.
My Cutty Corner shout out is a positive one today. I want to wish all the people out there a happy Father's Day, to all the non-deadbeat daddies like Brandon and Adarius and Peadro and all our friends out there who are taking care of their children and showing up to be an active and important component to their children's lives and to their families' lives. I want to give you a positive shout out and say keep doing the good work and stay healthy out there. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, y'all enjoy this day and enjoy the rest of this week. My second Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Raiders fans who I was arguing with online. Y'all really got to get a grip, man. Derek Carr is not the business. And every time you make excuses and try and defend him, you're really wasting your own time, and you keep trying to extend the clock on somebody who needs to probably be ready to get cut or benched this year. Anyways, he's not good. And to people who decided to get in the argument like 2 days after I had already been like, man, this is stupid anyways, it's just sports. Not really tripping because I'm not even really, Raiders are number 2 in my heart. But y'all can do what you want. We'll talk in a year. We'll see what excuses y'all making in a year. I made that whole thing, let it be. Nobody responded. A couple people liked it. It was all good. Some dude shows up 2 days later talking about like, what are you talking about? And tries to reignite the argument. So I just called him out for being late to the party and being a jabroni that nobody invited to the party in the first place. And that's what you get. Because you know what? It's over. Nobody really gives a fuck. Derek Carr will prove his worth this year. And then next year, once he doesn't prove his worth this year, y'all will come up with some new excuses for him. I'm just trying to help y'all have your awakening sooner than later. He's garbage, and y'all need to let it go. All right? Moving to a new stadium with a new quarterback. Marcus Mariota, here we come. That is our show, my friends. That is our show. Any last words you guys like to have?
Can't wait to figure out what we're going to be talking about on the new show format.
Upload it to WhatsApp.
And maybe you can hire the white guy that's coming on the show next week to have your black conversation. It might be more productive.
Probably because he's white. The white man has never steered us wrong.
That Jared, you like to argue because you argue part with Adarius yesterday. You argued with Raider.
That was over a week ago.
Oh, the Adarius was a week ago? Or the
yeah, that was a week ago.
The
that was last Saturday. That was last Saturday, literally last Saturday night.
Oh, I thought it was recent.
No, we didn't. I didn't bring it up because Jason hijacked the show last week. And Darius was late, and then Jason hijacked it once Adarius got on, and it wasn't the right time to bring that up, anyways. But
hey, can you say how Jason said Adarius again? That's my favorite part.
What? You wrong, Adarius. It's like,
I just stick myself in the eye.
That nigga.
We gotta bring Jason back on.
Oh yeah, we'll get it back on. We're gonna do 30 seconds with Jason.
Can you do a blood alcohol test through Zoom?
I think Snapchat has an app where they breathalyze him on the face app. So we'll have him do that before he gets in.
And we even talk about the Snapchat black Juneteenth filter.
Had a Juneteenth filter? What was it?
Oh man, no! Like he was the background. Like if you smiled in the picture, the chains would break in the background.
So what? They need to have another Juneteenth filter where I went outside with the strap and shot at everybody that wouldn't stop popping fireworks at 12:30.
Wait, no, what was in the background?
No, it was like a bunch of chains. Like it was like a bunch of chains. It was a red background with a bunch of chains, and then like if you smiled, like the chains would break in the background.
And if you didn't smile, were you still a slave? If you didn't smile, were you still a slave?
Sounds like it.
If your skin tone was too white, were the chains there to begin with?
Yeah. I'm actually all for it if it went with these things.
Like, the darker you are, the more chains there are in the back.
The more chains. Like you got chains in a ball, right? Real dark.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, I want to do a show where we start going around and we start naming the different types of Americans there are. So we're like basketball Americans, and then like skateboard Americans, golf Americans, and we could just break those down.
And my favorite, Honey Boo Boo Mama, meth Americans.
Yeah, methamphetamine.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about that, Jared. She spent $25,000 a day on meth. That's a lot of meth.
I think that
meth is cheap. I mean, that's the reason they buy it.
Maybe she was paranoid about getting called out for buying meth, so she had to buy it from somebody
who was like
crazy markup.
Yeah, like I'm not. Yeah, you want to keep this a secret? You want to keep this a secret?
Aaron, she only had enough money to do that shit for 6 days, bro.
She was paying cocaine prices for meth, high-end cocaine prices.
She had that vegan, organic, non-GMO methamphetamines.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what were they burning the meth? Were they cooking meth with items out of Whole Foods in Berkeley Bowl?
Yeah.
Like they was using like whole organic cough syrup? Like how the fuck did she get that?
Swarovski meth.
Well, thank you for listening to our show. We hope that everyone has a beautiful, lovely, splendid Father's Day and had a lovely Juneteenth. And, stay woke and fight the power. Aside from that, we will leave you with this.
Milk from the peanut gallery. Into the water, ladies.
No, man. Let me take a look at that map right quick.
Why is everybody all obsessed with the map?
Because we're tired of being the trail donkeys, acting like you some one-man GPS. God damn it! We lost. We fucking super lost, man. Tell them, McCluskey. Tell them what time it is.
I don't believe you people.
Huh? What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh?
Why the fuck we talking about the Chargers and the Rams then? I'm in my bubble from LA. Why are we talking about goddamn dumbass statues in Atlanta, Georgia right now? Why are we talking about that? I'm in the bubble of LA, nigga. It's things to talk about. You want to talk about? You guys want to talk all about sports? We can talk about some dumbass sports. Let's go. Ain't shit going on in sports world, but let's talk about it. What else happened? Hey, what happened in week 3 of Ultimate Tag with JJ Wyatt? Wait, what's his name, Aaron?
This magic moment.
Next, nigga.
Adarius, can I tell you this without Jared yelling? I'm gonna tell you this, Adarius. So Jared got mad because the whole time you was off mic, We spent the last whatever minutes talking about the same thing. And I said, hey, man, I'm starting to reach a boil point. Can we just move on, right?
No, you didn't say it like that. Nigga, I told this. I ain't got to sleep last night because I heard a firecracker out there last night. And then my mother, you ain't around these niggas who won't let me go to sleep. And I'm tired of race shit because I'm living this shit in my house above everything, watching all these fireworks go off. And I'm tired of that shit. I'm like, damn, nigga, I didn't know you was at the end of glory. I didn't know you was running that hill with Matthew Broderick and lost your goddamn mind. And you was at that point where Morgan Freeman's young old ass can't even save himself. Remember in Glory, the movie Glory with Denzel and the Rockets, Red Blair on their black asses? Yeah, that kind of shit. That's what Aaron was talking about.
So Darius,
until Jerry had their heels.
That all came later. That all came later. All I said was, can we just move on, man? We've been sitting here talking about.
You did not say it like that, nigga.
2 weeks, and then this motherfucker Jerry gets upset. It's just starts yelling.
Let me bring the Christianity into this. Forgive me, brothers, for speaking out. Let's talk a little sports before I have to go. Amen.